Continuing with the Proverbs from chapter 13, verse 23. Much food is in the tillage of the poor, but there is that is destroyed for want of judgment. So many times, like people are panicking when there is no food. They store up so much food in different places. We see different kind of panics of shortage of whatever, and fridges are full, but the understanding is somehow missing. In terms of being destroyed for want of judgment, it doesn't mean that they, in this context, want judgment, but in terms of that, of need of judgment, in terms of that they don't have the understanding what's happening, how things actually work. If you have the understanding how things work, okay, there's certain type of like laws. If there will be a rain all the time, there will be food, and if we have know how things operate, we won't have problems, to know what to do and when to do it. It doesn't mean we cannot have like a food stored up for a hard time, so to speak, but we shouldn't be afraid of hard times in a sense, because Lord takes care of us and He can warn us if you listen. And in terms of He will tell us when to do what, and in terms of judge righteously in between, and like what to do and what not to do, what to say, what not to say. And the thing is that when we don't know, the destruction comes in terms of, and it's not because that you don't have food in that sense, but it's just because you don't have right judgment or right ability to decide correctly. That's way more important than store up the food in the place. Basically on what's said here. Verse 24, he that spares his rod hates his son, but he that loves him chastens him betimes. Now, in Finland, this Bible place, or whatever you find yourself in some countries spanking is still completely fine, but in here it's sort of like even like not allowed. So for me that's very strange, because it completely goes against the scripture. But of course, you don't have to sort of like spank with the rod, but the idea is that correction, if you don't correct the son or the children in general, they go off track. And it shows we don't care. If we care, we will correct. And the thing is, if you care and don't correct, you're deceived. Because there is, you see that if somebody is left unchecked, it goes off track. So, for instance, in terms of I have a father, I was a son, and I know, like in terms of boys, I don't know if it's for all boys, but for me it was like this: that whenever I done something wrong, but there was no correction and no kind of consequences in terms of punishment for doing wrong, I was like, I got my way. I felt it. Probably it was wrong, but nobody told me wrong. Nobody corrected me for it. So I just keep continuing doing that thing. But then when the correction came, even if I was spanked or like a strong word came, some kind of consequences came, and then I'm like, okay, this was wrong, and I shouldn't be doing this again, because I felt it was wrong. Now I got spanked, and okay, I don't do this anymore. Of course, when I was spanked, I was crying and all this stuff, and I was a kid, but I knew I deserved it, so there was no hard feelings in that sense. So I was still disciplined in a way. To a certain extent, maybe I needed more discipline than I got, so to speak, but still the discipline that I got, it really helped me. And the advice that still stuck to me, a few advices from my mom and father, they had different things. They said specific, in specific situations, when, for instance, when I was maybe 18 or 17, I think I was 18 already, I was in high school, and you now can like sort of buy drinks with like you're kind of allowed to buy alcohol, So we were drinking quite much actually with some friends, and my mom told me that, hey, if you continue on this path, you will become like this drunk, and I won't control you. You're leaving the house very soon, and you will be responsible for your own life. So you have to make a decision. But I just wanted to tell you, if you continue this path, you'll become alcoholic, like this specific individual. She mentioned some village drunk that we kind of knew, and or another person that kind of amplified, like, oh, this is bad life, you don't want to become like that. So it weighed on me so heavy that she placed the responsibility of my life upon me, because I was about soon to leave to university, to live on my own. Man, I wish she would have shouted at me. That would have had weighed on me less. But actually, I did stop drinking. It hit me so strongly, those words. Eventually, I stopped drinking, and I don't drink at all anymore. And plus, it's bad testimony. Like if the people have a problem with alcohol, I feel that it's better not to drink at all and not to offend the brother in a sense. And I have no desire for it either. So, but anyway, that's another thing. But it's important to correct the children. I was corrected, and it really helped me. It helped me in life, and helped me to choose the correct path. When I was going off track, the correction helped me to go back on the right track. And when people think like, okay, why this person going on in the right way, this person going off the rails? So many times there is no correction, and if sometimes some friends can be corrected. Like, to be honest, God called me to, it's like hard even to say, but slap few friends. Literally, I slapped them in the face, and slapped them hard, and not because I hated them, but just because I loved them, and I saw that they were in the wrong in certain areas, and when they did, actually it worked. It worked. It has to be in the right way. You don't slap out of anger. You do it because of when you care very much. The more you care, the stronger you can be actually. So when we love, we do correct, and that's what it says here. If we spare the rod, spare the correction, then we actually don't love. And for the man, that's super important. If it comes from care, it creates this kind of sense of safety actually even. So it sounds so strange, that correction brings sense of safety, but it does if it's administered from the place of love and correctly. Verse 25, the righteous eats to the satisfying of his soul, but the belly of the wicked shall want. Now this is very interesting that when we do things the way that God prescribes, we just understand what is appropriate, what is not. And even in terms of food, we will know when to eat, when not to eat. We won't have this kind of strange craving. But in terms of when we get into the sort of wicked ways, then we get out of order. So even appetite gets out of order, if you go wicked ways. But when we do righteousness, even our appetite gets in order too. So it's interesting. Everything intertwines with everything. Even the way we eat eventually, if we don't feel like we're always hungry, always hungry, and never satisfied. And it's probably somewhere we have wrong beliefs, wrong intentions. But when we follow the Lord and His ways, and we have a right heart, even our appetite, even our soul is satisfied with whatever we have. So this is what I wanted to share with you today, and God bless you.